Welcome back to another episode of What's Brewing with Humble Joes. Today's special guest is Annie Ferret, who lives in Seymour, Indiana with her husband, Tim, and her two boys, Bauer and Mason. She loves to adventure with her family any chance she gets and is always up for a good challenge. Annie has been on staff with Team World Vision since May of 2021 as the Indianapolis area director. She loves her work because it allows her to be a part of God's kingdom, reach across the globe, while also wrapping her arms around people right here in her own backyard as she recruits and encourages teammates who are taking on half and full marathons to help end the global water crisis. She is amazed each day that something as simple as running, putting one foot in front of the other, can change the world. Can't wait to talk with Annie. Welcome back, everybody. We're here with another episode of What's Brewing with Humble Joes. Special guest, Annie Ferret. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
And then I'm joined with my lovely bride, Lauren. Murphy couldn't make it today, so
I'm stepping in.
We got the next best thing. So we'll jump right in here, Annie, and just start talking about, first we'll talk about coffee and learn a little bit about what you like and some of your experiences. So in the coffee world, what would you say is your most memorable coffee experience you've had?
Well, it was funny because as you said that, I was trying to think, when did I even start drinking coffee? And I started drinking coffee when I was in college. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh man, I should drink something better than like gigantic Mountain Dews. But my first coffee, or I thought it was coffee, was vanilla bean frappuccino from Starbucks.
There we go.
And then came to realize later, I'm like, there wasn't even coffee in it. But it's probably my most memorable because it made me feel like an adult. There was something about it.
Special.
I was like, wow, look at me like drinking coffee. So that's probably the most memorable because it was kind of ridiculous.
Oh, makes sense. What about coffee routine? Are you a daily coffee drinker? You drink coffee all day long, every day? Or?
Not all day long. There was probably a time, but now in my age is saying you have to cut it off at a certain time of day. But every single morning. So I wake up in the morning, I head out for a run. When I come back, the very first thing I do is make coffee before I do anything else, before I take my shoes off, before I do anything. And then I just sit. And honestly, I sit and that's my moment where I'm like, I'm going to have a cup of coffee with Jesus. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm going to do this morning, even when I'm still sweating. And that's why one of my favorite blends is sweater weather, but I will often cross off the because it's just sweat weather for me all year round.
Very nice. Lauren, what about your daily coffee routine? What do you do on a daily basis?
I feel like you're trying to judge me.
No, I am.
My goal is to stop drinking coffee by 11
At
in
night?
the morning.
Okay.
11 in the morning is like my cutoff. And then on, I have water. And then I do usually have a cup of hot coffee, usually in the winter, like in the late afternoon between 3 and 4 to kind of get me through the evening. Right now it's probably an iced coffee in the afternoon, but I have noticed as I'm getting older that like a latte with espresso in it later in the day does keep me up, but
it's sad
to
come to that reality.
It is.
Professional journey. Walk us through graduating high school until where you are today.
Okay, so I grew up in Michigan, graduated from high school, and headed to a small Christian college in Indiana, Huntington University. I got a communication degree there, thinking that, oh man, the world is my oyster. And then I got out and realized I have no idea what people do with communication degrees. Oh no, is it just talking? I've done that forever. I took a year.
I think that Tim has mentioned that. You do talk.
I do talk a lot, yes. So then I went back home to Michigan and I actually worked at a shoe store and sold shoes for a year and started to just love the interaction that you get to have with people in that setting. Oddly enough, people tell their whole life story to the people that are fitting them for shoes. And so I started to love that and thought, man, I wonder what I can do with this. I had grown up in the Free Methodist denomination, really similar, kind of a Wesleyan background. And so went to work after that with Free Methodist World Missions out of Indianapolis, so the denominational headquarters, and I got to work with people, so individuals and teams from churches that wanted to go and serve on the mission field anywhere between 2 weeks and 6 months. Got to lead a bunch of trips, got to go to Egypt and Cambodia and Thailand and a bunch of different places at that point in my life, and loved every second of it. Still, as a single young girl, I couldn't believe it. I was leading teams of adults
now, like
when
how,
I was
how
25.
old?
And
wow, 25.
Yeah, so got to do that, got a taste for just the beauty of that. Then you didn't know how long this was going to be, how many different things I've done.
How much time do we have, Stephen?
So then I went to work at a small school for at-risk youth as their PR director, and in that time just got a chance to get to know these kids and see the life that was in them and just this possibilities. And so all of these things were tying together, right? Of the desire to know people's stories and be a part of that. And then this opportunity to work with at-risk youth and think, man, there's a future here that they just don't even realize yet is in them. It's in them. After that, went and worked at Greenville University in Illinois, and that's where I met my husband, Tim. So he was working there in residence life. I was working in PR and marketing. We met, got married, moved to Pennsylvania, and I started working for Soccer Shots, which is a soccer program for kids ages 3 to 8. And I was working in PR and marketing and franchise sales because they're a franchise company all over the place. Then Tim's job moved us from Pennsylvania to Indiana. And during that time, we had Bauer my son Bauer, when we lived in Pennsylvania. We had Mason when we got here. I took a pause, hung out with them, did the stay-at-home thing, which was fantastic. Came to work at our church, The Point, in Indiana. It was supposed to be interim, but it happened when COVID happened, and so my interim was a lot longer than we all expected it to be. I became the kids director, and then went on staff with Team World Vision in 2021. And
that's so cool how everything that you did before, though, really set you up for what you're doing now.
Yeah. And isn't that the truth? You can always look back and see how everything was woven together and all of these experiences you collect and get to bring into what you're doing now.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's almost like it was someone's plan.
It's almost like it was someone's plan.
Very good. Thanks for sharing. Well, I've learned a lot there. Proudest moment professionally and personally?
I think personally is probably watching my two boys become humans that people like and enjoy. There's something really beautiful about that when they on their own go and serve somebody or are kind to someone and obviously that's so much the Lord in them. Like, I think we did some of that. I think we got to be part of that. And so that's that piece personally for sure and professionally. So I get to oversee the Indianapolis Monumental Half and Full Marathon. And so every year I get to recruit hundreds of people who take to the streets of Indianapolis in orange jerseys that look like this one, that look like this flag. And I think my proudest moment gets to happen every single year when I watch those people cross the finish line. A finish line that most of them never thought they could, and many of them never thought they wanted to. And when I watch them cross the finish line in tears, that they didn't just cross a finish line for them, but they brought a finish line to others who are right now walking for dirty water. Over and over, I get to have my proudest moment professionally every year.
So Annie, with your role, you are over the Indy, so all of Indiana, right?
Yep.
And so how much have we raised here in Indiana?
Yeah, so Team World Vision Indy has been around for 13 years. This is year 13 of people taking to the streets of Indianapolis. And roughly every year they've raised $500,000 to $800,000. So doing math and how all of that, I would like the viewers at home to do a little bit of math there. But the incredible thing is that $50 provides clean water for one person for life. For life. And so when we divide all of that impact by $50, every year this team is bringing tens of thousands of people clean water forever.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Now, have you had the opportunity to see this work firsthand? Like go and visit sites?
I have not actually been to the field yet. This in 2026, that's the promise that's been made to me, that I'll get to go and see where we're working on finishing the job. So pictures to come.
Need us to go with
Probably,
you?
yes.
We can supply the coffee.
Perfect. Oh, goodness.
So current projects with Team World Vision that you have happening or you see coming up in the future?
So right now we have 8 weeks to go in our training season toward this year's race. So November 8th, Saturday, November 8th, if you're in the Indianapolis area, come on out and cheer our team on. You'll know them. They're the people in the bright orange jerseys. They all write their names on them so they can be cheered for. So that's the big project right now that we're headed toward. And we have fall races for Team World Vision all over the country, which is really, really neat. So we've got Chicago and Twin Cities and Grand Rapids and Detroit also heading toward their finish lines. And then Team World Vision Indy is the caboose for the year for Team World Vision races. Nice. And then it will kick back off with the LA Marathon in March.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool. Which ones have you participated in personally?
So I've had a chance to run Indianapolis. Of course, that's where I got my start. I've run the Chicago Marathon. I've run the Hood to Coast relay. I don't know if you guys have heard of that, but it's a 199-mile relay from Mount Hood down to the Pacific Coast. It's a team of 12 people in a van. That's what you guys should do and supply the coffee for. There's lots of coffee necessary for that, but you get a team of 12 and you relay it all the way. I've had a chance to do triathlons the last couple of years, the Michigan Titanium Triathlon the last couple of years with World Vision, and this year I'm training for the New York City Marathon, which is the weekend before Indy. So prayers up. Here we go.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's coming up soon.
Yes, it is. You're 7 weeks away from that one.
Why aren't you running now?
Right this moment?
Yeah,
I know. I should probably be running all the time. But I did run this morning and have my coffee.
Very good. You seem very driven in your work. What keeps you to keep pushing?
The fact that there's still people that don't have clean water. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but every morning when I get up, it takes me roughly 3 seconds to get to my first water source. And that's probably true of most of us here in this area, just because of the privilege that we have. And so in 2019 was really when I was introduced to World Vision, and it was through our church. We were doing the Global 6K for water, and we lined up, and at the time my boys were 4 and 8 months old, one of them in a stroller, and we were going to do 6K, and 6K is about 3.7 miles. That's roughly the average distance that women and children are walking every single day for dirty water. And I had heard that statistic and even heard at the start line that half of the world's children that don't have access to clean water yet are dying before their 5th birthday. But there was something about, that moment where about halfway through that race, I watched Bauer, who was 4 at the time, get water out of a big orange Gatorade jug. And watching him get clean water that I didn't have to wonder about, that I knew for a fact was clean and safe and so accessible, I had this moment where I looked at my 2 boys and I was like, there is a mom like me with 2 kids like mine, and one of them isn't going to make it. Yeah. And that is not okay with me. And I said out loud, I will do whatever it takes, to everyone around me and to the Lord in that moment. Little did I know that the next day I'd be invited to run a half marathon to continue that. And here we are, 6 years later, 7 seasons later, and that sticks. I will not stop until this is over.
It's almost like there was
That's
another
the promise
plan
I made.
there.
Another plan. Someone had a plan. Yeah.
Very good. Last question here before we wrap it up. Interesting story. First, personal, professional, just something interesting.
I kind of thought that was my interesting story.
Everything's been pretty interesting.
It's all pretty interesting, but okay, a funny story.
A funny story? Well, I'm gonna rat out my sister. My favorite funny story is I'm the baby by a lot in my family. So the closest sibling to my age is 11 years older than me. So I often got to do teenage things just earlier in life, for better or worse. That's how it was. Mm-hmm. And so when I was 5, I got to go TPing with my sister. And I thought it was the best thing that had ever happened to me. And they gave me my own toilet paper, and I'll never forget it. I'll never forget going to the grocery store with all the teenage girls and then being like, our mom has diarrhea. That's why we're buying so much toilet paper. The whole thing. They gave me my own roll, and we're throwing it, and the lights flip on in this house that we're at, and all these track star high school girls take off running and grab me by the hand and drug me up down the dirt driveway. When we got home, my parents were home.
Of course.
And I was covered in mud. And
at least they didn't leave you. That's what my sister would have done.
That's true. That could have happened. But my sister got in a lot of trouble. But it remains one of the best nights of my life. So there we go. It was great.
When's the last time you toilet papered someone's house?
high school.
Probably pre-COVID. Then toilet paper got really expensive.
That's true.
For everybody.
Now it's like gold.
So, yeah.
Our kids will never know that.
They will
because,
not.
Yeah,
They will
it's
not.
very, very different. Yeah, when I've told them that story, they're like, the thing that people lined up for? I'm like, yeah, I know. It didn't used to be like gold.
So we're super excited for the future for Team World Vision because we're going to be a part with a fundraiser coming up in a couple weeks. So I'd like to thank you for allowing us to be involved. I think that's going to be good. A good fundraiser for you guys, and hopefully
Oh my
it's very
gosh,
successful.
yes. Yeah, our teammates cheered when I
Good.
told them about it. And I'm so grateful to you guys. I mean, small business owners certainly don't have to be generous and extend their reach in this way. And so I was amazed when you guys reached out and said, how can we be a part of it? And then came up with a super cool name for it.
Yeah.
So I was really excited about that. So thank you guys for extending
Of
your
course.
reach and being part of what we're doing.
Yeah.
Of course.
Now, what's that cool name again?
Turn your bean water into clean water.
Turn your bean water into clean water.
But my next challenge is, will you guys come and cross the finish line with us some year?
Put me
Did
down,
you say someday?
I said someday.
Okay.
I said someday.
Put
Okay.
me down for 2030.
Okay. All right. You
2030.
heard it. You heard it.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot for
Thank
for
you.
being here. And
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Thank
Thanks.
you.